Hello, fellow castaways. Join me in a journey across the Palpagos Islands to discover all of the best mining locations that Palworld has to offer. Whether you're playing on a crowded server or just want a change of scenery, I guarantee something on this list will grab your attention. First, let's talk about Paldium. This is a very important resource, and you're going to be using it from the early game all the way to the late game. There are 4 different ways that you can obtain it, and most people are just going to use a stone pit, and that works great like mid to late game, but early game, the stone pit's extremely slow. Not to mention, I've had so many bugs trying to assign my pals to the stone pit. Sometimes I just can't get anything done, so I have to go with the other option. It's also worth mentioning, the crusher takes 5 stone to make 1 Paldium, and that's just downright inefficient. I'm getting messages from my Tombat that says he can't use the stone pit because it's not suitable with cooling. Now that doesn't make any sense at all. Now I've got a cooling pal, and he is getting assigned to coal. So, what options do we have? Well, we could purchase the Paldium. There's a merchant later, and that would be the fastest way, but probably not the most ideal. There are 2 other methods we can use, and the first one I think is kind of overlooked, and it's hidden in plain sight. It's all of these small nodes. Now, they don't give you as many per node, but there's a lot of them, and they're only in the starter zone. So once you start expanding out into the map, these little nodes stop appearing, and you might not have even noticed that they're gone. I'm just going to call this method connecting the dots, and there are a ton of dots. From what I have noticed, these nodes will spawn near the shoreline of any body of water along those starting islands and starting zones. I'm going to let this play so you see the route that I'm running, but let's also take a look at the 4th option that we've got for collecting Paldium. Again, this might be overlooked because if you're playing on an Xbox like me, you probably don't spend a lot of time in dungeons because the game typically crashes. And I can survive for maybe a minute or 2, so I was able to get some content, but I don't typically spend a lot of time here. If you do have a stable game and can access these dungeons, it's a great place for you to get coal, sulfur, Paldium. This was actually a large node, but I had hit it a couple times already. This is the only place that you can get a large Paldium node. I should take a moment to discuss what I'm not going to talk about in this video, and like I said, I don't spend a lot of time in dungeons, so we're not really going to focus on dungeon loot or legendary schematics, nothing about world bosses. What I am going to do is cover all of the merchants, all of the black marketeers, and all the skill fruit locations. Here you can see the large Paldium node in all of its glory. And these are awesome. They give you just as much as a standard node, as we can see here with the sulfur. You might be thinking that 120 is a lot and isn't what you're seeing. That's because I've got my settings turned up for my loot. The reason is I have a world that bugged out so bad. I'm at level 0. My name is gone, day 0. I just lost everything. I was like level 48 natural on like hard mode. So this time I just put it on easy mode, and all I've been putting my points into is carry weight. And that has been spectacular, I'm not gonna lie. Quality of life through the roof. Can run around my base grabbing things, no problem. I was so focused on catching up to finish this video, I didn't even feel the need to craft my grappling gun until I was already level 47. 600 isn't bad. If you're using normal settings, you'll probably get 200 for that run. And it didn't take very long. Let's kick off this top 60 list with an 8 ore base near the starter zone at 158 minus 395. This is near the Chillet boss, and most players will encounter this through a natural playthrough. You can start farming your skill fruits at a skill tree located at 202 minus 452. You'll also encounter your first black marketeer near this location, it's at 148 minus 361. Without using traps and campfires, these guys can be tough to take down, but you can get a lot of gold or just check out their inventory for a rare pal. Our next location is the Desolate Church, but first, I've got another hot take, and this time it's on stone. Now, with the new update, we're actually going to have a ore mining site just like we do with the stone, but I don't think that that's going to completely cancel the effectiveness or usefulness of the ore nodes, any more so than I feel like all of these stone nodes are useless. I don't think they're useless because yes, we've got the stone pit, but like I said, think about how slow that is. Now, if you're gonna sit AFK, if you let your machine run, okay, maybe that's a good option for you. But if you're an active player and you're trying to get stone quick, then maybe you wanna visit these nodes. There's one here, there's another over in this direction, there's another on the opposite side of this pier, there's another stone collection down here at the bottom. So then you can just go around with your Astagon or your dig toys and collect all of this stone really fast. I realize I'm probably in the minority when it comes to viewing stone that way, so I'm not really gonna sit here and tell you where all the stone nodes are, but I just want to say what I said. The Desolate Church area is also home to a level 40 black marketeer, located at 41 minus 403. We can check out his inventory, and in this case, he has a bee guard, which is pretty nice at this point in the game. They'll give you honey in a ranch, and they're hard to catch because they will blow up. Third on our list is a 9 ore base located at 8 minus 534. And this is just an excellent base. Not only do we get all of these ore nodes, there's one tucked over to the side, but if you look at it here from this angle, we can see we've got a personal black marketeer hanging out right here. So we can just visit them and see their inventory regularly, or if you get strong enough or start using some tricks, farm them for gold. This area is also home to a skill tree located at minus 18, minus 483. Just a little bit to the north, we'll find our first settlement called the Small Settlement. And here we have a wandering merchant who can give us some useful items. One of them will help protect us from the heat, so you might want to pick up that hat. That's at 73 minus 486. Definitely a top 10 candidate. This location contains clusters number 4, 5, and 6. 4 and 5 are going to be on top of each other here. That is 8 ore, and then just below it we'll see 6 coal. Now you can get your PAL box set up nicely so that you can access both of them if you're a good builder. Now, because this base is such a powerhouse, I'd like to just check out the surrounding area. We've got some stone, that's nice. I'm not going to sit here and talk about that forever. We've also got sulfur, which is even better. And if we move over in this direction, we're going to see we've got our cluster that I was saying. There's 6 up here and 1 below, so 7 more coal in this area. And it's just nice to have extra. You can shoot down here, collect it real quick with your whatever, and use it to make carbon fiber and just sell it. I mean, it's just a resource. Here we have another sulfur node. And if we head up this way, we'll find one more sulfur node that we can use and a couple of flat areas if you don't want to build on the cliff. This is all the area between 226 minus 176 and 254 minus 213. I heard that shimmer of a lucky nearby and saw this guy whacking around. Decided I should catch him. And that should have been the end of it, but then this happened. What the thwack. New pal captured. I guess my game had crashed doing some recording and I lost that lucky. Moving on to the alternate respawn locations, we're at 370 minus 321. Here is a skill tree as well as a dungeon and 2 chest spawns, all inside of this croissant, donut, pick your pastry. This area just looks really cool, and although there's water going inside of it, just on the outside, it opens up into this extremely flat area for just excellent base building, ease of access. And what I noticed on top, I don't know if this happens often, but I noticed it here. There was actually a skill fruit just hanging out on the ground. So I'm not sure if that spawns regularly or if that's just random. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. Slightly to the south, we have the Marsh Island alternate respawn location. There is a traveling merchant and a pal merchant up to the north, hanging out on this little shoreline. $442 minus $294. This merchant has a decent selection. If you haven't already picked it up, the farming hat schematic is pretty useful. This alternate respawn location is also home to a black marketeer located at 463 minus 124. The 7th entry on our list is also unfortunately a boss home, so we won't be able to put our PAL box there to make it our home, but we can come here and farm those 8 ore nodes as well as the boss, and in this general area we've got 2 different coal nodes, and just a little bit further is a sulfur node. So if you do want to come through this area, it would be worth your time. Up to the north around this bend, we've got some merchants, but there are also some bad guys that spawn there. So you might have to wait for them to respawn. I ended up waiting so long that I found a lucky Wixen, and yes, all right, okay, I did catch it. And that one did stay. That was not a bug. I was able to keep that one. I had to wait many, many days outside of render zone. I think at first I was trying to wait at render, and I realized I needed to get away from where they respawn. And then after waiting for a while, boom, they came back. So that was cool. So if you show up and they're not there, yeah, that might be what's going on. They may have died. Well, what do we have here? That's pretty unique, I'm not gonna lie. I've only seen one merchant have Paldium, and yeah, you're gonna have to come with me, little guy. All of this is going down at minus 345, minus 253. The 8th entry on our list has 9 ore and a bunch of stone all in one area. That's at negative 256, negative 221. And there's also a sulfur to the northeast and 2 sulfur to the south. There's no coal in this area, but there is a skill tree. You'll need to set up some fortification if you have raids enabled, but otherwise, very solid spot. Speaking of skill trees, there's one located near the local respawn on this side of the map at minus 462, minus 23. And just to the east of this, we've got a merchant located at minus 403, 17. All right, let's wrap this area up with a kelpsea spawn at minus 406, minus 149. In the update, we're going to be able to take these kelpsea and put them into our ranch and actually produce PAL fluid passively. But if you want to collect them or just come farm them yourself, here's a good spot. I always find above average loot at the chests next to the black marketeers. This one can be found at minus 280, minus 157. The 9th entry is located at minus 256, minus 364. We have 8 ore all in this cluster, as well as 2 more nearby, and a sulfur node. Then if we move across, we've got 2 more coal nodes, one hidden in the trees and another in this bandit camp, which is also convenient for getting a free PAL every day. If you did choose that previous location, then you might find yourself hanging out here at this 6 ore location with 2 chest spawns, because there's also a little camp for a free PAL. This is all located at minus 250, minus 455, pretty close. The skill tree local to this area is at negative 193, negative 404. Continuing to the east, we will encounter a desert area, and we'll find 6 coal at minus 98, minus 118. Nearby this area, just a little bit to the north, we'll also have 6 more coal at minus 124, minus 84. And also in this area, we've got the world boss Anubis, and right next to him is 7 more coal at minus 150, minus 95. If you do decide to take on Anubis, come prepared, because I literally have him on 1 HP, and the catch rate was abysmal. So bring your legendary spheres, otherwise it just ain't gonna happen. Demand, Demyth, Dumud. Yeah, that's right. These guys are going to be getting us HQPO, that high quality PAL oil, and some dig toys as well. But in the update, Dumud is actually going to start allowing us to put them in the ranch to produce that PAL oil, that HQPO passively. Otherwise, we'll use some of these locals to farm them, and if you come through here at night, you can catch them lacking. 198, not bad. That'd be about 66 if you didn't boost your settings. As a bonus, you can collect gunpowder from Toucan Sam. We are on cluster 14, located at 95, minus 261. This is a great spot with 10 ore all in one close area. There's also coal nearby, so if we just hop over this way, we can see the first. And beyond this camp is a little tree that we can find another coal node, as well as a fast travel point. So if you don't want to set up a base and just want to shoot out here, that's where you would go. A little bit further this way, we're going to hop around this bend. There's a world boss and a dungeon, but also 2 coal nodes. That's cool. And just below this, we have a sulfur node. So really, you're set. I mean, this is a great spot. The gobfin spawn is located nearby at 149, minus 207. This is an excellent place to not only pick up PAL fluids, but also Paldium. If you run around here, you can see I've already wiped out the area, but when you're finished, you'll end up having a considerable amount of both. So don't sleep on it. Number 15 is a 10 ore spawn with 3 more nearby. We've also got a coal node, a little bit of stone, and a sulfur node that is just out of view. This is all located at minus 74, minus 315. The black market is everywhere, and that includes here at minus 96, minus 355. Number 16 on our list has 8 ore, 1 coal, and a skill tree. This is located at minus 38, minus 162. Freeze frame. If we go just to the north at this beach, we're going to find another black marketeer hidden inside of this little cave system. Also tucked away in the cave is a dungeon, if that's something you're into. And nearby, we've got location number 17. This cluster has 8 ore and is located right next to a fast travel that has stone and coal, at least 1 coal right here. If we continue to the north just a bit, we'll see we've got a sulfur node as well. And just a little bit farther, we've got a skill tree. This is located at 50, minus 50. Numbers 18 and 19 are pretty close to each other. We'll call this 18 with 6 plus 1 coal off to the side at 159. And this lower section of 6 coal we're going to call number 19. That's at 102.22. Moving to the east, we have a skill tree at 147, minus 24. There's also a dungeon down here, and it's located next to one of the best spots in the game. This is at 190, minus 38, with node clusters 20 and 21, which have 8 ore and 6 coal, respectively. If you're interested in advanced building techniques, I have another video where I go over how to connect low foundations with high foundations in a way where they aren't grid snapped, but you can still build giant connected roofs. Slightly to the southeast is 1 sulfur node. A little to the north, we have a black marketeer at 215, minus 10. Cluster 22 is located at 157, minus 65. Here we have 6 coal nodes, but that's it. Now we're at cluster 23 with 8 ore, and in this general area, we also have 3 sulfur and 3 coal. There's also some stone, but in general, the combination of all of these in the current state of the game, with quartz not really being too necessary, maybe just for a moment, this could be one of the best places to set up shop. 3 coal doesn't seem very overwhelming, I get that, but if you think about how close we are to other places to get coal, all of those other clusters of 6 that we just saw, we can do that. What's interesting here is that we've got 3 sulfur nodes that are actually pretty close. One we could actually get inside of the PAL box perimeter with the ore, and most people don't really need that much sulfur. So to have 3, which you normally tend to only have 1 nearby and need to travel to find it, it's a pretty good bonus. And if you really want to make it work, you could also double base out here. Maybe get both of these inside of 1 PAL box. I wasn't sure, I'm not sure if they fit, but just ideas. On the subject of needing coal, the closest to that location would be 202, minus 113, We've got 7 nodes here and 1 chest spawn as well. Clusters 25 and 26 have 6 coal and 8 ore, respectively, located at 302 minus 39. You're also going to have 5 stone and 1 sulfur, as well as a skill tree and another sulfur node very close by. Here you can pick up a flame bell to get some flame organs instead of having to buy them. One thing to consider is you'll need 2 PAL boxes to get the most out of this spot. Hidden gem alert. We've got 4 quartz, 1 coal, and 1 ore all inside of the same PAL box area. This is at 206 100. Not only that, this is the only place that you're going to be able to find quartz next to coal or next to sulfur. It's all on the same spot. You can find ore next to quartz up in the northern island, but this is it. This is like this little oasis, only opposite because it's frozen, and it should be taken advantage of. I don't think it should come as a surprise that the level cap will go up. New things will be craftable, and what seems to be lacking as importance right now, quartz, will suddenly be rebalanced and much more important. That happening would single-handedly just make this the best spot on the map. If they don't change the node locations, this would be your all-in-one. And just to the north, we have a black marketeer at 143, 174. Speaking of quartz, let's talk about where we can get that. Just head a little bit north. You're going to see minus 204, 249. We've got 9 quartz nodes and an ore node as well. This is a great spot. To the east, we have a black marketeer hanging out at negative 39, 217. And if you notice behind him, there's this tower that just happens to be the exact size of a PAL box diameter. And there are 4 what seem to be rare chest spawns. This is just great. Minus 78, 190. There's a dungeon behind it and another chest. Moving further into Ice Island, we have 10 ore nodes, a little bit sparse, but this is located at minus 291, 256. Oh, not me being completely unprepared to find a level 50 lucky out here. Of course, campfires are the best weapon in the game. You can deplete your enemy's health without aggroing them. At the moment, I've got a 0.3 chance to catch, so we need to let his health go down. But just before he gets all the way down, he does wake up. If I had a legendary sphere, my odds would be better. But in this case, I just had to pray. My prayers were not answered. Moving north to cluster 30, we are at minus 249, 392. There are 8 quartz nodes and 2 ore nodes here. There's also 2 chest spawns and some bonus ore in the area, about 8 of them, so that gives you 10. That's 30 node clusters down and 30 node clusters to go. If you've made it this far, first of all, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. The rest of this list is packing heat. Like, literally, we're going to be going to the volcano area and finding all the sulfur. But if you need a break, save this video for later. Come back. I'm not going anywhere. Next up, minus 414, 471. This area has 7 quartz nodes, and it also has 2 chest spawns. In addition, it's also pretty close to the frostallion world boss. I lucked out and pulled an assault rifle 2 schematic from this box. Cluster 32 is located on the opposite side of frostallion with 6 quartz nodes and 2 ore nodes. It's located at -303, 543. Again, completely unprepared, but I was kind of bitter about missing out on the lucky ice mammoth, so I decided to give frostallion a go. At first it was going great. He was stuck down low, my fire pal was lighting him up, and I was hitting him with poison arrows. All was well, but I got a little too confident, wasn't paying attention to my pal's health, and when my fire pal dropped, I'd spent forever whittling down all of his health points. Then suddenly my pal decides to crit and ruins the entire thing. Well, you win some and you lose some. And all I can say is, you probably don't want to take me to Vegas with you. This is cluster 33 and is one of the best when it comes to quartz and ore. We have 8 nodes in one bunch here at -151, 580. There are also 2 more quartz nodes on the border with 10 to 15 ore nodes, depending on how far out you'd like to explore. You can also find Cybelex spawning here, which, if put into a ranch to graze, will produce high-quality cloth. 1 skill tree and a dungeon to top it off. The final area that we'd like to check out on Ice Island is here at 131, 418. It's where it starts to get a little green, and we might even be able to ride that border if you want to for very strict servers when it comes to eggs. But we've got 9 ore and 3 quartz spread out across this area with a skill tree. And the cherry on top would be the black marketeer over on this side. 99, 482. I got lucky and found a huge frozen egg. This may be the best place to come for coal. There are 8 nodes in this specific spot and a skill tree as well. But we're actually very close to another 6 coal nodes just over this edge. Little dismount remount to drop fast. $265, $212. To explore the desert, you'll need to be prepared for both hot and cold weather. The update is bringing an undershirt that is going to help us with that. But if you don't have that, then use whatever you do have to battle the elements. Duneshelter to the north has merchants who sell notable items such as ice organs and both hot and cold undershirts. If you show up and it's empty, chances are they're under the city. You can't talk to them, but you can catch them. If you're in the desert with a torch and a fire pal, you're going to need to stack your gear. Moving on to cluster 37 at 326, 483. This location has a skill tree and 9 coal nodes with 2 ore nodes. Cluster 38 is a 6 coal cluster located at 427, 526. Cluster number 39 is a 6 coal cluster with 2 more nearby. There's also 2 ore located at 441, 434. Next up, at 494, 347, we have the level 50 Black Marketeer. This guy has a nice place. You know, he doesn't actually have nice pals. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just my bad luck, but I haven't really seen anything interesting. No cool passives. A Vixie? Come on. But there is a good chest. At least I can count on that. And, you know, this time around I decided I wanted to play with fire. And if you do, he packs a punch. So come prepared. You're going to need legendary spheres. If you don't have legendary spheres, you're just not going to catch them. I had to throw so many of them. Normal loot for defeating him would be about 10,000 gold coins and 1 gold key. Coming in at number 40, we have a 6 coal cluster at 622, 317. This area has 11 coal and 2 ore, but it is a little bit sparse. We're going to call this cluster 41 at 606, 160. But in addition, we also have cluster 42, which has 7 coal and 1 ore. Very close. Might be worth setting up shop in this area. 633, 160. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Well, I didn't have any good spheres, but one of them landed and acted like it wanted to work. Then I was like Jim Carrey at the end of Dumb and Dumber. So you're telling me there's a chance? There wasn't a chance. I don't know what I was thinking. And I tried setting it on fire, but yeah, you know. Cluster 43 is the final cluster in this desert island. Located at 510, 64, we have 6 coal and a lot of stone. I mean, I said I wasn't going to talk about this, but there's just so much stone over here. It's worth mentioning. Did I save the best for last? I guess that's a matter of opinion, but we still have one major island to go to, and that is the Volcano Island. So if we respawn, we can get pretty close. Minus 180, minus 606 is home to the local merchant. We can stop by here. If you're low level, you might want to pick up the heat protection gear. This guy has everything you need to get started making cake. I mean, it's pretty basic inventory, but useful in general, so if you want to, just add him to your collection. The local skill tree can be found at minus 196, minus 518. This westernmost respawn point is where we're going to go to get to the volcano island and the first settlement there called Fisherman's Point. As soon as you get a bird, you can fly your way over there and unlock the fast travel. Later, you can just fast travel. This place is home to 2 different merchants. The first one will sell a couple of good items, and there's also a PAL merchant nearby. I don't really bother with them too much, but he's there. The other wandering merchant here is going to have some other useful items for us, including HQPO, cluster number 44. we're at minus 743, minus 424. There are 7 sulfur nodes in one concentrated area, but there are 5 bonus nodes in the surroundings. Number 45 on the list brings us down to the lava at minus 736, minus 334. We have 7 sulfur nodes and 2 ore, but there's also 3 sulfur bonus in the area, as well as 3 coal if we just head out in this direction a bit. There's also a dungeon up ahead, and this location in general pairs very nicely with the next one. Cluster 46 is a beautiful 10 ore located at minus 671, minus 289. There's also 2 sulfur located nearby, and this is really close to the previous location. If we were to throw a stone to the north, we would hit this skill tree, located by what seems to be an abandoned castle town. And while there really aren't a lot of resources to be harvested from in this area, I just want to mention how beautiful this area is. And if we're going to get some type of PvP action going, this could be one of the best places to set up, especially if you have a couple of people in your guild and you want to protect each other, because all of these brick buildings, these natural structures, they're not like the structures that the player characters can create that can destroy and deteriorate over time or just be shot down, burned down. These are permanent. So you can go into them. Some of them have rooms and staircases. You can hide things, protect yourself. I don't know. Really cool, really pretty, and also home to a black market merchant. Minus 607, minus 234. Cluster 47 has 8 ore and 1 chest at negative 577, negative 352. Number 48 on the list is 8 sulfur, 1 ore, located at minus 592, minus 401. The next couple of spots are going to be further into this volcano, with the first of which being a 9 ore cluster in a pretty flat area as well, so not bad. Next up, minus 493, minus 521. There's a sulfur collection here that has 5 nodes. There's also 3 ore, but yeah, the combination of these two being close to each other is pretty nice. In that same spirit of having a complement nearby, we have cluster 51 with 8 sulfur. And if we just scoot our butts right on across this giant active volcanic crater, we can get to 7 more ore and 1 chest, all located at minus 607, minus 507. Yeah. There's also fast travel nearby, which makes getting here really convenient. Cluster 53 is at minus 397, minus 633. And here we will find 8 ore and 2 sulfur in this general area. There's also a chest spawn and a bunch of eggs, to be honest, if you're looking for scorching eggs. Moving south into the volcanic desert region, Cluster 54 has 6 coal and 1 ore, and it is located at minus 461, minus 684. This next spot is easy to overlook if you don't know where it's at because it's tucked away. But we've got 6 more coal nodes hanging out here at minus 513, minus 728. Demand, demyth, demud. Yeah, I don't know. I just like saying that. They're here too, and if you end up hanging out in this desert area instead of the other, you're going to want to pick up a few. Cluster 56 has 6 coal nodes and is located at minus 561, minus 647. There's 4 sulfur nearby and 2 ore, as well as a skill tree and this awesome Anubis statue in a moat with a waterfall and these towers. Just so much potential here. Next, minus 603, minus 710. Coming in at number 57, this location has 6 coal clustered together, and in the general area we can find 2 sulfur nodes that are not very far away at all. Next up is cluster 58, located at minus 698, minus 653. Here we have a collection of 5 coal and 1 ore, similarly set up with a moat and 1 entrance. Super cool for build opportunities. There's some more ore nearby, a dungeon, and even some sulfur, with one of them being located here behind the water, and 2 more being located to the east of that entrance. The black marketeer for this location can be found at minus 796, minus 630. Just hanging out on the beach. He's living his best life. Clusters 59 and 60 go really well together. They are so close. We've got 8 ore and 6 coal. The midpoint is around minus 750, minus 700. It would take 2 PAL boxes to get the most out of this area, but they might be in render distance. Thank you so much for watching this video and making it to the end. I want to reward you by giving you a small piece of information here. We've all rolled around and done the normal evade, but if you swing your weapon while doing the evade, you'll do a pretty cool barrel roll or backflip. The forward direction is just a normal somersault, but I did this on accident at one point and didn't know what was going on, and finally realized what was going on. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.